Hey guys, it's Okazi. Thanks for tuning in again for another Shoutcast. Today's match is between a Protoss player, blue in the bottom left hand corner, and a Zerg player, who random Zerg, in the top right hand corner is red, here on Zelnaga Caverns. The Zerg player immediately sending out his Overlord, as there's only one location to scout in this map, as the spawn points are set. It's a 1v1 map. The interesting thing about this 1v1 map is it offers the most entrances to a natural expansion of any map in the game. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 effectively entrances into it, which makes it fairly hard for a Zerg player to defend his natural expansion. So we'll probably see some pretty aggressive one base play out of the Zerg player here. Looks like they're both going for fairly standard builds. 9 pylon out of the Protoss player. As far as the Zerg player goes, he hasn't thrown down a pool down anything yet. Hasn't started his second Overlord. There it goes. Protoss player sending his probe across the map to scout. Probably pass right underneath that Overlord. Looks like the pylon's finished and the Protoss player is boosting his next 2 probes. So he's probably going to go for some type of 13 or 14 gateway build. Zerg player's second Overlord is out and he's spawning 3 drones. Now he doesn't do the 10 drone build extractor cancel trick that a lot of people have been doing, but recently it looks like a lot of players have stopped doing that and have just been going for a 9 Overlord, though our player got off to a slow start here. He's thrown down his pool but hasn't gone for gas, so he may not be going. Oh, there it goes, there's the extractor. Meanwhile, back at the Protoss base we have a 13 gateway, and he's building a little wall off there, knowing that the Zerg player is very likely to go Zerglings to try and get some early pressure, since this is such a small map, and he also saw the pool going down. Throwing up a second pylon to reinforce that gateway, so 1 pylon won't cause the downfall of his entire production, army production. Still boosting out probes here, going for, I'm not sure when he's going to, oh, there it is, there's the assimilator. Back at the Zerg player's base, he's got his extractor going, and looks like he might be expanding. Or no, looks like he's just going to go scout. Throwing up a spine crawler here to get some early defense and possibly move it out to an expansion that he creates here in a minute. Always a good idea to have at least 2 spine crawlers up that you can move out to help protect your natural and block on the stairs here. If you put them kind of right here, they prevent any number of harassing units getting up into the base. Protoss is a little lighter on the harass than, of course, Terran or other Zerg, but still don't want things running past and getting to your mineral lines. Looks like the cybernetics core and the 3rd pylon is down. Very heavy econ build out of the Protoss player. He's up to 18 probes and only 1 zealot. Zerg player positioning his Overlord so he can scout in a little bit, moving it behind, and sending a drone across the map to get some scouting. Meanwhile, the Protoss player has kept his probe over here, ready to scout again when he would like. Might be building, nope, not building a pylon. Zerg player getting out his first Zerglings. Fairly light on his econ. Looks like he's going to be going for that aggressive 1 base play that's really good for this map. Queen's about to finish, and a Baneling nest going up. He might be trying to knock down what is inevitably a gate at the Protoss player's, or a wall off there at the Protoss player's base. Effectively a gate guarded by 2 or 1 zealot, and usually a stalker behind that. Very common for most players to do. Protoss player just kind of biding his time down there in the corner, hiding his probe so he can easily scout here in a moment. A good tactic. Protoss player getting that first stalker out and starting his warp gate research. Throwing down a robotics facility second. It's his second production building here at 20 probes. He's going for an extremely heavy econ build, especially with only 1 gateway up. No real defense against any type of early aggression, which is interesting as he has scouted at least the spawning pool, obviously, but I believe he had scouted, yeah, he scouted the Baneling nest a minute ago. Moving to take out that scout there. And the first Zerglings are positioned outside the base with more on their way. Quite a few more on the way, up to 14 Zerglings now, with 6 morphing into Banelings. and more pylons and a second gateway going up here as the robotics facility is about to finish. 22 probes now to the 12, so the Zerg player is definitely going for a very all-in strat here very early in the game. And looks like he's moving those Banelings to blow up what is inevitably the Protoss gate. It's very, very common. Up it goes. Boom, there goes the entire gate, splashing on the remaining one stalker. And here come the Zerglings to take advantage of that hole that we just created there. Looks like a first observer going up. And the two Zerglings stopped the probe from getting off another pylon to power that second gateway, which is almost done with its stalker. Now the Zerg player here is being tanked, while his Zerglings are being tanked by these probes while the stalker does damage, but there's no real point trying to run around and try and get through the mineral line, as the probes would be able to maneuver there faster and block it off again anyway. So it's best to try and equal out the economic disadvantage that the Zerg player had by going for this really aggressive build. Now the Protoss player not attacking these Zerglings here, and the Zerg player sending his Zerglings after that last stalker. Not warping in anything yet again. Too busy, it looks like, trying to micro the stalker away from the Zerglings. Kind of running it in a circle there. The Zerg player taking off two of the Zerglings to go take out that pylon as more Zerglings come into the base. There's a stalker going up. Zerg player notices it and turns around and goes to surround it before it can start kiting like the other one was. And that's good game. As we can see, really early aggression out of the Zerg player there, pushing into the Protoss player's base. He knew that this map was advantageous for a very fast and heavy one-base play. Could have gone for a Baneling bust like he did, which a lot of players don't use anymore, as most Terran players are smart enough to double wall their base, while most Protoss players have at least a sentry to try and block it off. Took a gamble here and it paid off. There wasn't a sentry up to block those Banelings and have them get shot down by a stalker or multiple stalkers, as would be the case in some other games. But expanding here is very risky, especially versus a Protoss player, when most Protoss armies will try to go for a fairly big push about between 10 and 15 minutes into the game, where they can easily overwhelm a Zerg player if the Zerg player isn't careful, or goes for that fast expand and doesn't go for the one base play, which a lot of Zerg players do, especially on such a small map with such a hard to defend natural expansion. So this was a Baneling gate bust versus a Protoss player, and that was the game. Hope you enjoyed it.